Well, the weekend is coming in to a close. Well, things doesn't have to end like that at all. So today we're going to be doing three reviews for this weekend. The first two are from this past Saturday with Pro Wrestling Noah with the best featuring the GHC National Championship on the line. Hajime Ohara faces the champion Jack Morrison. We will see if Hajime Ohara has what it takes to dethrone him. But before the start of the main event, we did had a surprise visit from a well-recognized wrestler not only throughout Japan but throughout the world himself as well. Then we move on with GCW's Come On Dude in Hartford, Connecticut, featuring the GCW World title on the line and various other cool matches taking place. Then finally, we move on with day 11 of World Tally by New Japan Pro Wrestling, where we're going to focus only on A block matches. And then, of course, we have the news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, any wrestlers that either been signed or departing from whatever promotion, of course, any injured wrestlers. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of reviews from various wrestling promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to get our hands on. We also do news updates. If we're unable to put it on this episode, we can do that on a separate thing only. We also do very cool stuff that you might enjoy. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews from us and other cool things. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment down below. Now, let's begin with Japanese promotion Pro Wrestling Noah with the best. This just took place this past Saturday on the 2nd of December. Don't remember where exactly, but it opened the match. We have tag team action. We have the Young Boys, more consistent of Yu Owada, Taishi Osawa versus Kaiji Fujimura and Leona. Now, we know that in recent times, Leona and Fujimura have been teaming up. We know the same thing with Owada and Ozawa. However, I have to say that the match was definitely going to go straight to Fujimura and Ozawa. Reasons behind that, Fujimura has a little more experience than Ozawa and Owada combined. However, Leona has the much better experience than all three of them combined. But however, it was Leona with a figure four onto, I believe it was Owada? No, Ozawa. One, it was over right there with the figure four leg lock. So Ozawa had no other choice but to tap. Moving on, we have six-man tag team match. We have Teriyaki, Alpha Zoe, and Super Crazy taking on Extreme Tiger, Alejandro, and you can bet on this guy, Ninja Mac. So, I think this match was pretty good, but there were moments where Super Crazy didn't want to get involved with Extreme Tiger. I don't know, he feels like he's Mexican, he shouldn't turn his back on his own brethren, that sort of thing. But, of course, Extreme Tiger doesn't care about that. He cares about is getting in the ring and picking up a win, which, of course, it happened, but it was not done by him. It was, of course, Alejandro with a corkscrew moonsault. I believe he applied that onto um, Teriyaki to pick up the win. However, I think this is going to be good motivation for Alejandro since he and Ninja Mac will be in a three-way match for the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles in January 2nd. Next match, we have Vinny Masario teaming up with Stallion Rogers. They take on Daiki Inaba and Misa Kitamiya. So, if you guys knows, yes, Vinny Masario, you may have seen him in West Coast Pro. Recently, he's been training at helping out train wrestlers at the Marvelous Dojo. As you know, Marvelous and West Coast Pro do have a working relationship, a partnership. So I didn't expect to see Vinny Masario to join when I first saw this, but this is his official debut in pro wrestling. No, he did appear in Monday Magic, but that's something else. That's like kind of like a side thing that goes on. But yes, seeing that was pretty good. But however, it was in the end a Crimson Lock by Kitamiya onto Stallion Rogers. Now, if you guys never seen a Crimson Lock, it's kind of like you're blocking someone's knees and you're looking right at them and seeing them in so much pain where they have no other choice but to tap. Next up, we have Hiroki and Atsushi Kotoge taking on Hayata and Eita. Now, keep in mind, Hayata is a four-time junior heavyweight champion and a tag team champion in the junior heavyweight division. Eita, who is now self-proclaimed face of the junior heavyweight, is there to make an impact. So I think this was a good warm-up for him because it was Eita who picked up the win onto Kotoge to pick up the win. However, right at the end of the match, here comes Daga, and of course Daga comes with the clutch, and a part of me was thinking this was a trap just to get Eita, and it was. And of course, Yoshinori Ogawa, who's supposed to have been in commentary, was in fact helping Daga out. And of course, Daga's telling him that he's not going to take this title from him because it's going to stay with him forever. But Eita is determined regardless of what Daga thinks of him. So sooner or later, Eita has to get his end game and stop playing with Daga's games as well. Next up, we have the members of Real, consisting of Shuhei Taniguchi, Saxon Huxley, and Timothy Thatcher taking on Rohei Oiwa, Keito Kiyomiya, and Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. Now, you probably can guess there's going to be a lot of interesting things. Taniguchi body slams both Huxley and Thatcher onto Rohei. I mean, on Oiwa. I felt bad for Oiwa for being caught in this. But, however, Taniguchi felt that they deserved it because, of course, they've been using him as a body slam on the opponents many times. So basically, now the tables are turned on him. However, that wasn't the case because it was Hijo Dr. Wagner Jr. with the Michinoku driver onto Taniguchi to pick up the win. Now, next match, we have the GHC National Championship. Ajime Ohara, who won a Rumble match not too long ago, it was the one who won this one and issued the challenge. It was the one who faced Jack Morrison. I have to say, this is where I see more of Hajime Ohara. I mean, he's a fantastic wrestler. Not to mention, this is the first time I ever seen him challenge for a different title outside of the junior heavyweight divisions. If you guys remember, he was part of the Full Throttle unit, then later part of the Noah Junior Regulars, and then after that, Congo. So basically now he's stepped up a little bit of his game, but unfortunately, it was the Tiger Driver onto him that gave Jack Morrison the opportunity to retain the title. So there's still no challenge that was made afterwards, but yes, that's what happened. Now our semi-main event, we have Junta Miyawaki, Shuji Kondo, Go Shiozaki, Takeshi Sugiura, and of course the genius of the arc, Naomichi Marufuji. They take on the members of GLG, consistent of Tadasuke, Yohei, CJ Leary, and Anthony Green, and Jake Lee. So basically, but here's the thing: Tadasuke went out of his way to go say something to Kuji Kondo right in his face. Of course, then everybody had enough of him. But however, it was a fantastic match. Not to mention, Yohei picked up the win when he applied the drop kick into the face of Miyawaki, who Miyawaki has still issues towards Yohei, who betrayed the Noah Juniors this year, and now he's getting payback. But he did not get that. Yohei picked up the victory for his team. However, before we start of the main event, out of nowhere, people saw the screen and they couldn't believe who it was. And yes, it was him, Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi made an appearance that no one expected. I don't think no one expected. I don't think anybody would. So, out of nowhere, he was about to say something, and here comes Naomichi Marufuji. And of course, he tells them, Marufuji, January 2nd, keep your schedule open. So basically, Marufuji said this, I've been waiting for you. So basically, he's been waiting for an opportunity to, in fact, have a match against him. You can call this a dream match, folks, because it is. I will explain more about this on the news updates because this will happen on January 2nd. Now, our main event, we have a very interesting match where, as you know, in January 2nd, Keno puts the GHC Heavyweight Championship on the line against his former teammate Manabu Soya. However, the main event features both of them with their mentors, the ones that train them into pro wrestling. Keno has uh, Jinsei Shinzaki and Manabu Soya, Tatsumi Fujinami. I think this was a very good, interesting moment. I mean, you get to have your mentors with you in this match. But however, I think the surprising is it was Manabu Soya that picked up the win with the Dragon Sleeper onto Keno. So now that the obvious question does remain, does Manabu Soya have Keno's number? Does this mean Keno will definitely lose to Manabu Soya and lose the belt to him? Well, we just have to wait and see until January 2nd. Now, during the post match, Manabu said that it had a very emotional, um, of course, promo where he talked to Fujinami about him being his mentor and all this and that. And of course, he knows that he has all the tools that he needs. But right now, he needs to focus on the task at hand to obtain the GHC Heavyweight Championship. That is something that he solely desires now. So we will see until then. I think that's pretty much it, what we have for Pro Wrestling Noah. And we will continue on with GCW. GCW with Come On Dude. Yes, this is one of their much recent events in Hartford, Connecticut at the Webster Theater. It opened up with Nick Gage, of course, asking where his effing gang is at. We all know where they're at. It's MDK all the way, that sort of thing. Now, our very first match is a championship match. We have the JCW World Title defended. Jordan Oliver this will make Jordan Oliver's 20th defense. I have to say that's the highest record so far that I've seen. So basically, he faces against Azrael. Now, of course, Azrael, being the cocky SOB that he is, will definitely try to pull some tricks. But however, it was Jordan Oliver's new move called the Acid Bomb that in fact was the real deal maker to put him away to make this victory number 20. So, very successful. And I'll explain more about that at some other point later on. Next up, we have Marcus Mathers in singles competition. It's the first time I've seen him even without Dylan McKay, but he faces against Ratty Daddy Cold Radrick. So I think this was also a good match to see. Of course, Marcus Mathers do things outside without Dylan McKay. He did a pretty good job, but however, it was Cold Radrick with the Sebastian curse that was a real deal maker to give him the victory. But I'm not taking anything away from Marcus Mathers. Not to mention, you can say he's a tag team specialist, but he did pretty good as a singles competitor. And I feel like once we need tag teams that can wrestlers who can be both tag team and singles. I mean, we've seen that with the Lucha Brothers multiple times. So that is something we could definitely see. Next up, we have a very interesting tag match. We have Miracle Generation, Kylon King and Dustin Waller making their debut, taking on Masha Slamish, who is the current WXW Women's Champion and the current GCW Ultraviolent Champion, Rina Yamashita. Now, of course, this I have to say, Miracle Generation, I've seen them countless times in various other promotions, but they stepped up a little bit of their game on their debut match. I think they were fantastic. However, they were no match for wrestlers like Masha and Rina Yamashita, of course, who get themselves involved with a lot of plunder that's in their way. But it was a double splash mun on, was it Colin King? Yes, on no, on Waller that gave them the victory. I'm like, wow, what a fantastic match. Next up, we have Effie versus Santana Jackson. I have to say, what a fun match. Of course, he was going to do something. But apparently, Effie grabbed the wolf mask. If you guys know this, there are moments where Santana Jackson, he does, "'Cause it's a thriller." That's right, he wears the wolf mask to have the power of the wolf. But apparently, Effie took that and he tried. Santana Jackson tried multiple times the moonwalk DDT, but no avail. But it was, of course, Effie with the Zack Ryder that picked up the win. However, Effie got up to him and he told him what a. Gave him some props, and not to mention he even tried the moonwalk himself. He couldn't do the Michael Jackson dance like Santana Jackson could do, but it was fantastic. I loved it. Next up, we have the main event, um, taking on Waves and Crows. I thought this was a fun match, but I wasn't too much hyped on this one. So this one was ended by the main event with the grand finale on the Travion Jordan. But nonetheless, yeah. Next up, we have Pero versus Richard Holiday. As you know, Richard Holiday has been dealing with the shenanigans with both Charles Mason and Pero. Now, throughout the match, this whole thing came about when Charles Mason getting involved. The referee was out. Then it ended with a no contest. Then Hammerstone shows up. They said they will deal with them the following day in What's Your Choice event. Next up, Unagi Sayaka versus Lufisto. I have to say it was a pretty good match, even making her GCW US debut. Now, keep in mind, she did appear in GCW, but that's when GCW were doing a Japanese tour. So that doesn't count. So she did make her GCW debut, but not on US soil. So it was fun to see what she did. I wasn't too sure about this one because I know Unagi's always up for a challenge when it comes to wrestlers, especially when it comes to Lufisto, who we've seen so far. But it was a sliding forearm that put away Lufisto, giving Unagi Sayaka her first win in GCW on the U.S. soil. So she will be in the following match, but we will get to that at the next episode, I believe. So I think that's it for this match. Let's keep moving on. Next up, we have a scramble match. We have Griffin McCoy versus Nolo Kitano versus Raheem Royal versus R1, who they announced that he's from France. Never heard of him, but okay. And then finally Gabriel Sky. Now you know these type of scramble matches, anything could happen. But however, this match ended with, of course, Griffin McCoy with his cocky attitude, and when he applied the sunset kick onto Nolo Kitano, giving him the win. And then of course, Griffin McCoy was outrunning his mouth, but his old running buddy from the Young and Dumb Broke group, Jordan Oliver, was trying to get him to shut up and all this other stuff. But of course, Griffin McCoy has one thing in mind, which is the JCW World title, which something he felt he deserved it more than him. But we will see those two somewhere down the line to face off. Now, our next match we have is Jimmy Lloyd versus Sawyer. Now, we were supposed to have their match back in Seattle, but that was interrupted by Violence Forever. So, I have to say the match was pretty good. But unfortunately, this match got involved with Steph DeLander. As you know, Jimmy Lloyd has been getting in the business of Matt Cardona, but Sawyer was not too happy with her getting involved until she choke slammed Jimmy through some tubes. But however, in the post match, Sawyer decided to beat the crap out of Steph DeLanders one way or the other. Now, before our main event, we had a surprise visit with someone from the ECW days, just incredible. But however, the biggest a-hole on the planet, Blake Christian, goes up, who he feels like that he wants to beat up the old timers. However, just incredible, saying, yes, I'm fat, in my lifetime I would have eaten you up. But of course, if Blake Christian would have done something, well, luckily for him, his challenger, Alec Price, showed up. But it was a fantastic match. I mean, for me, I would have preferred Alec Price winning the match because I have seen how much this guy was rising, surprising me what he did in the match. He tried many things often, but however, Blake Christian somehow outsmarted, um, outmaneuvered Alec Price until he gave him the stomp to retain the title. I mean, that's a real bummer, but that's how it ends right there. So I think that's it. Well, now with GCW, let's move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling World Tag League. Day 11th of New Japan Pro Wrestling's World Tag League. So we're almost done with this tournament. So we still got a little bit to go. Now, we're going to only focus on the A block matches. Now, first match, we have the Gates of Agony taking on, of course, the United Empire, Hanare and Great Khan. I have to say, this is a battle of powerhouses. We have that in both sides. Now, you can say how hard it is to pick, but however, right in the end, it was, of course, the Great Khan with an Eliminator Slam onto Khan to pick up their next 2 points. So basically, they gives them with the total of 6, with 3 wins and I believe uh, 3 wins and 3 losses. I believe. Let me see. 3, 5, 7, 9. Yeah, 3 wins and 3 losses. As for, of course, the Gates of Agony, only 1 win and 4 losses with just 2 points. Next up, we have Ryohei Oiwa and Keito Kiyomiya taking on Chaos. So I have to say, what a good match. It was very fantastic. Of course, you got to be careful with Yano with his usual tricks. But when it comes to Ishii, the guy, he is a fighter. He's like, that's why they call him the Stone Pitbull, because once he's locked onto you, he wants to fight, brutalize you no matter what. But it was the vertical brainbuster onto Ryohei Oiwa that allowed for him and Yano to get their next 2 points. Right now, they have the total of 8 points, giving them the win of 4 wins and 2 losses. So basically, they are still in the tournament. As for Oiwa and Kiyomiya, they only have 4 points with 2 wins and 4 losses. Now, this is a very interesting match. We have the House of Torture, Yujiro Takahashi and Evil. However, the War Dogs decided to play a little interesting game. Gabe Kidd showed up with the chair, attacked the House of Torture, but unaware to them, this was all part of a tactical plan by Coughlin. Now, this happened before the bell in the ring. So, as you know, their MO is to soften up their opponents before the bell ring. However, in this match, the War Dogs were slightly in a disadvantage, which a 5-on-2 type of moment. Now, of course, once they start the ring and all this, they were going this and that. However, the ref was out of nowhere, but things got a little chaotic. They were able to separate Kid away from Colin and lock them up in a room where he can't get in, while they were focusing their attention on Coughlin, thinking that they have the much better advantage. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Somehow, Kid found a way to get out. He was on top of the second floor, then jumped out. However, things got more chaotic. Chaotic has happened. But of course, out of nowhere, the lights turned out. That despicable prick showed up out of the blue. But however, of course, the War Dogs had a backup plan, and then that backup plan was none other than Ghetto with a sledgehammer showing up. The same sledgehammer that David Finlay used to destroy the the IWGP US and the UK titles. But however, that wasn't the case until things got at hand. Um, Kid actually low blowed Yujiro, and then the hijack power driver became a deal rainmaker. Evil and the rest of the House of Torture were so helpless they couldn't do a thing. But the match ended with the War Dogs giving themselves their next 2 points with 8 points, with 4 wins and 2 losses, giving, of course, the House of Torture with two wins and 4 losses. So basically, right now, I don't know if they could catch up, but the War Dogs are claiming that this is their tournament. They run it. Well, right now we'll see because we have one more match. That match became the real deal right there. We have Shota Umino and Ren Narita versus TMDK, Shane Hayes, and Mikey Nichols. What a match! I have to say, fantastic, because you can see TMDK are the fan favorites. Same thing with Narita and Umino. But it was hard to decide how this match was going to go. But it was the Tank Buster onto Umino um, that was applied, but it was Haste that picked up the win. So basically, right now, TMDK are in the lead in their block with 10 points. So anything can happen. As you know, they currently have 5 wins and 1 loss. So they most likely could win the block of their tournament. But the real question is who will be the lead in the B block? We will find out, and possibly in the next episode. And I think that's pretty much it what we have for New Japan and every other review. Let's move on with some news updates. All right, welcome to our news updates. So this is what we have for everyone. This past Saturday, it was announced that revealed that Chris Jericho made a surprise visit in Asia, visiting a promotion based out of Vietnam. Yes, folks, Vietnam does have a pro wrestling promotion called Vietnam Pro Wrestling. Now, this is why I always say this in the when I greet people, that when I say that wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. So basically, I this is why I do this, because some people say, nah, Vietnam doesn't have. You may never know because it could grow. However, it wasn't just there to surprise people in this promotion. Jericho was there also to induct 2 wrestlers in the Vietnam Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. The first one is Sumi Sakai. You may all know her. Will recognize in the Yoshi World. And the second one, many of you know her here from the SoCal area and possibly other promotions around the world. Viva Van. That's right. Viva Van was inducted. Now, some of you may question, why would they induct her? Easy. Viva Van is Vietnam descent. So if you guys were unaware of that, then now you know. Yes. If you guys might have mistaken her for Chinese, well, that's your mistake. But she did mention on her social media, if you follow her, she is a Vietnamese. So it's cool that she got accepted because, of course, people will say, "Oh, Viva Van, she is a Vietnam descent living in the U.S." So I have to say, it's really great to see that she got recognized in her family's native country. I'm going to presume that she was born here. Now, as you know, there's been a lot of layoffs in WWE. Apparently, certain departments have been hit. Those departments are, in fact, the HR department, production, sales, and partnerships. So we don't know how much of this. Now we do know that we're expecting. Now this makes it even a little more. Um, we know that began with the merger between Denver and WWE, but we don't know for sure what else. So we will see if we'll be hearing more information if more layoffs will be coming out. Promotion First Wrestling has announced for their WrestlePalooza event that will take place at the start of January. Maki Itoh will be making her appearance. Now, unfortunately, sad news. I've been following this tag team from Marvelous for quite a while. Magenta, consistent of Maria and Riko Kawahara. To me, I felt like they were the tag team that would definitely impress us, but unfortunately, they were unable to capture the tag team titles against Takumi Itoh and um, what's her name, Shikayo Nagashima. But they did mention that they will not give up. They are determined to win these tag titles. I mean, I can tell you that Maria and Riko Kawahara, when they first started out, they never did like each other because they were rivals. But now that they're a tag team, they have become even more stronger. But I'm sure this loss, to me, they will teach them to even be more cohesive than they ever were before and finally obtain the titles that they have solely desired. We just got to wait and see. Now, as you know, I reviewed New Japan Pro Wrestling. Something happened at the post match comments. It appears that right now Hinare and Great Khan has something set in their minds. They took the belts that belong to Teo Leona and Bishop Khan. I'm talking about the ROH World Six Man Tag Team titles. So basically, they're issuing the challenge against them for those belts. So they have to find a third person. Now, if I was a betting man, I would get Jeff Cobb because that would be a perfect choice. So we'll see about that. Now, what does the Mogul Embassy think about this? Well, we can speak on two of its members, the Gates of Agony, Khan and Leona. I'm sure that they will, of course, gladly accept it. So we don't know. We could see members of the United Empire invade ROH. So we'll see about that. Now, a very interesting development. Now, as you know, at the start of this episode, I actually, my first review was in fact with Note Pro Wrestling Note with the best. I did talk about Kota Ibushi, so it's now been confirmed that Ibushi will face Naomichi Marufuji on January 2nd. However, there's a very interesting thing that came around. The match will take place, but it will be the main event. Now, somebody asked this question: wouldn't be the GHC Heavyweight Championship be the main event? I strongly agree with that. But however, a very interesting point has been pointed out about that. Um, I forgot it was the director of of Pro Wrestling Noah named Takeda said this. I decided to make the main event and Arike a match between Marufuji and Ibushi. On a talk show, Marufuji said that he would like to retire in 5 years. I would like to organize as many historic bouts as possible for Marufuji. So basically, as you know, if Marufuji is planning to retire in 5 years, I think it would make sense to have the best possible main event matches as possible before he officially retires. So it would make sense why it's being the main event. But of course, as I said before, I strongly agree. The GHC Heavyweight Championship would have been the solution. But gotta remember, now Marufuji may not have a whole lot of time. So we'll see how that plays out. But for right now, I think it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we do have the West Coast Pro with their latest show, Monster. I'm so excited for that. We even have, of course, more with Pro Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and GCW's latest show, What's Your Choice? We have interesting matches that will be taking place, but the main event for that one will feature Matt Cardona versus Jamie Lloyd, Career versus Broski. So we'll see how that turns out. Now, I do want to mention this to everybody. I am behind on All Japan Pro Wrestling with their latest tournament, the Junior Battle of Glory and Real World Tag League. I think I am missing day 4, day 5, day 6, 7, 8, maybe 5. I don't know. I just got to look it up again because, I'm a little behind. So we'll see how that turns up. But as of right now, I'll say I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang!